Hey boys, how you going? I know some of you are probably sitting at home wondering what you can do with the rain outside, but regardless if it's raining or not, but this is something I want to show you you can do inside, which is really important. And I want to talk to you about a couple of major areas in the next few days that I want to cover for you, which is really important for your game and your health. One is your hips, and we'll do that right now. So getting that mobility in your hips is so important for our sport. Our sport is based around using our legs, mainly our legs. It's not like other sports like AFL, rugby league, where they're using upper body a lot as well. So our sport, our legs is key, and the hip joint is it is the most important joint that we use in our sport. Our knees are important too, and ankles, and I'll show you a bit of work on knees and ankles later on, but hips are key. And the hip moves in a lot of different directions. It's what they call a ball and socket joint. So it moves around like that. So there's a leg bone, for instance, that's your leg bone. That's the ball that goes into the hip, and there's the socket like that. So we want to get that leg bone moving around in that hip joint, the socket, really well in all different ranges of motion. And I'll show you how to test for it, and how to stretch for it, and how to strengthen it. So let's start. This is what you can do at home. You warm up, you've done this before, with exercises like this. Moving up. Moving out. Moving across. Okay. Then, once you did that a bit longer than what I did. Once you've got a bit of blood to the joint, the hip joint and the muscles, do a little bit of a test. And this is the test. You lay with your hips flat on the ground and make sure they don't come up when you're doing this test. You lift your leg, lower leg up, okay? Try not to straighten your knee. Again, hip down, and then allow that leg to drop to one side. Don't force it, just allow it to go outside. This is what they call internal rotation, but your lower leg is going to the outside. If you can have a look, I'm guessing, because my hip is terrible, I've had operations on it, I've probably got about 10 degrees. Would you agree 10 degrees, Carla?
Yep.
Yeah, 10?
Mm-hmm.
You should have about 35 to 45. Everyone's different genetically and whatever else, but at your age, unless you've got a genetic issue there, you should get 35 to 45 degrees. So you do it one leg at a time. I'm thinking this has got a bit more, not much more. And then you also do it internally. Again, here you should get around 35, 45 degrees. It should be fairly even outside or internally. This is external rotation, what they call external. It should be the same on both legs, that way and that way. But you'll find that it's not. So you've got this and this movement, okay? Not dropping the knee, yeah? This, and then this. That's external, that's internal rotation. And that's the key thing that I'm gonna focus on now, how to improve that. So, the best way to improve the internal part is you sit in this position here. So we're gonna work on my right leg. You can see my hips need a lot of work. But I tell you, if you get the flexibility, the range of motion, mobility in the hip, your game will improve a lot. You can move a lot easier, your passing, your shooting will be better. So what you do, sit in this position. I'm gonna go with my right leg first. You point your toes upwards, yeah, to the sky, towards you, and then try and bring this leg in. might need a bit more room. And you should, if you have good flexibility and no genetic issues there, touch the ground with your knee. Do about 20 on each side. The side that needs more, because this is in relation to when I was in that position. It's called internal rotation. So we want to improve that range of motion. So you keep doing it. Try not to lift this off the ground. Keep your butt on the ground as much as you can. Do about 20 on each side. Have a break and then do it again, 20 on each side. One leg needs a bit more, do a bit more on that one leg. And then once you've done that, it's important that once you get that mobility, you actually activate the muscle and the joint in that movement, internal rotation. So this should go up here. As you can see, I don't have it. I don't have that movement. I struggle with it. I had 2 operations on each hip. Do about 15 on each side. What this does, the activation of the joint and the muscles around that joint, is now that you've got that range of motion that you've just gained from those stretches, this will help you keep it by activating the muscles, sorry. Okay, so that's for internal rotation. Now, if we're doing and stretching, this is for external rotation this way. By the way, have a look. Has my rotation improved a bit?
Yep.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Has that improved?
Not as much, but yes.
Yeah, I didn't do as much on this side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now this movement is for the opposite, external rotation. So put your foot out and you go outwards. All of you have done some form of this stretch. So we're trying to get that mobility. As you get better, push it. It's a up and down motion. I don't have the flexibility that you will have. Trust me. A lot of you will be better than me. You should be going all the way down. You do it on this side as well. See, this foot relaxes flat and you start. One side will be better than the other. You just got to work more on the weaker side. And then how to activate, once you've done that, to keep that range of motion, to be also strong in that range of motion and that movement. Again, 2 sets, 15. Good. Okay, so there you go. So just remember, when you watch it through again, just warm up with some dynamics like I did. Yeah, movements like this, up and down, lifting up, out, over on both sides. Do the test for internal and external rotation. Hopefully someone can take a picture or a video of you so you can see the before and after once you've stretched and done the activation exercises. And then you can move on to what we do and training, which is, if you want to come around here, your band work for activation. All right, so this is moving outwards. Okay, so the hip is responsible for a lot of different movements. This is what they call abduction. So you're moving out, you do 10 of those, and it strengthens the muscles here. You should start feeling the burn. Remember, get into that position here, toes facing forward, and concentrate, making sure this doesn't collapse, knee and leg doesn't collapse. Stay straight, so it's tensed. This muscle is moving the leg outwards, abduction. Okay, do it on both sides. We talked about doing 10 on each side. I find that my left activates easier than my right. So maybe it's better I start with my left because it fatigues the right, because the right is holding that position in isometric, in that isolation, where you're trying to not collapse the knee. It's just a small step, it's not a big step, guys. And then go to the right, for instance. Yeah, I can feel it now on the right. All right, now they're both fired up. Okay, next movement, which incorporates side, back, forward. Okay, so side, back, forward. Side, back, forward. Again, I can still feel it on this side because it's holding me up. Just trying to stop it, because you want to go, because when you move that way, this wants to go this way. So you're trying to stop that movement. So in isometric, and it's holding it, contracting, while you do your movement. So working both legs, so concentrate on both legs for each movement. Side, back, forward. Side, back, forward. Do that 5 times on each side. Then you can just do your pulses, squat pulses that we do, just to fire the glutes up completely. Keep your core on for all of it. Oh yeah, it's burning. Make sure your knees are traveling straight over your toes. You're not collapsing in, you don't want collapsing in. And you're sitting straight back down. You don't have to go all the way up, all the way down. It's just firing those glutes. Talk about glutes, everyone. There's all different glutes. There's glutes maximus, medius, minimus. This is usually a good exercise, all these, for the medius. This one here. And the minimus is firing up too, and I'll show you other exercises for it too. Okay, once you've done that, then it's down, out, back up. Down, out, back up. See how I'm not lifting too much and rolling my ankles, my feet. So down, out, back up. Down, out, back up. Down, out, back up. Okay, so they're the key exercises. Other exercises you can do, and I'll show you some more in a minute, but they're the main ones. So the hip is responsible for moving out, forward, back, but also it rotates this way and rotates that way. That's the exercise we did earlier for internal rotation, stretching it, and then you got external rotation. The exercise we did when we were stretching it that way. Because as you can see, we pass the ball, we push the ball that way, this way. So there's a lot of different ranges the hip's responsible. Because of its structure, it allows you to move in a lot of different ways, and sometimes, like here, is forward and internal rotation, external rotation. So there's a lot of different movements within one movement. So exercising all those different muscles to make it strong and mobile, so stability and mobility is really important. Another exercise you can do, because the exercises that we did then covered all the muscles except for one. One movement, which is this one. So this is pretty tight, so you're pretty close. Movement inwards, which is called adduction. Okay, so you can do 10 on each side. Find something sturdy so it doesn't move. Felt like that was moving just then. Table that's heavy, or get someone to sit on it if you've got someone. So that's your hips. You can do that, getting that mobility, flexibility, range of motion in your hip and activating your hips like I've just done now. And then you can go on and do your ball mastery, just to get more blood flowing, your feet moving. And I guarantee you, if you do all that and go out and kick a ball, you'll feel that even that 1 or 2 degrees of extra range of motion makes a big difference to your game. You do your ball mastery and then you do your strength training. And I'll show you more of that in the next couple of days, all right, with the ball mastery and the strength training. But your hips are important, really important. You look after your hips and you'll play for longer and you'll play better. You'll improve your performance. If there's any questions, let me know.